In this video, we're going to be using a test soap from DentonMajik. This is Foooj and the Harry's razor for dome shave. Stay tuned. Hey there folks, and welcome back for another video. I'm your host CDB. Thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And as mentioned before, today we're going to be using another test soap from DentonMajik. And I'll show you the label right there. This one is Foooj, and it's described as a dirty but clean green scent. In other words, a type of fougere. And to me, I think it's a really nice smelling fougere. I like it. It is bright, but at the same time, a little dirty and deeply green. And I do like it. Scent strength is probably right at that medium mark. Again, this is a test soap from a brand new soap maker. So keep in mind, this is subject to change. It's a vegan formula. We'll show you the ingredients right there. I've used this test soap once before, another scent. And this one, which is labeled number 2 on my sample, the Foooj, F-O-O-J, Foooj scent. It does smell good. I'm looking forward to using it. We're also going to be using today the Harry's razor. This is the Winston handle with their new blades that come in the green packaging. And the first time I used this lubrication strip was really breaking down and getting sticky. And I don't care much for that. And it didn't happen too much on the old Harry's blade, so who knows. Okay, let's wet the dome and get right into it. I hope you're all doing great today. We have lathered the DentonMajik soap up in the Captain's Choice bowl. Our brush today is the West Coast Shaving Two-Tone, or as I like to call it, the Dude of Shaving brush. And it lathers up pretty doggone good. Again, as I said in my last video, I tend to prefer the way tallow soaps lather for me. Just a preference thing, but this one lathered up just fine. It's not finicky whatsoever. So I think we're going to have a good run with it today. I didn't have any problems whatsoever in the first use. And I do believe DentonMajik has, or at least as of the date of this recording, and keeping in mind it might be a couple of weeks before this airs. Who knows? I don't know when I'll air it. As of the date of recording, I believe DentonMajik had some of these samples up for sale. They were $3.65. So if you want to try the sample of the test soap, the 1.0 formula, you know, give it a shot. This one smells good. It's a nice fougere. It's not too dark. I tend to like bright scents and tend to dislike dark scents, and this one certainly isn't so dark that presents any problem for me at all. It's a nice bright fougere, but there is a deep green sort of undertone to it at the same time. So when he calls it sort of dark or dirty, but clean at the same time, it kind of makes sense when you smell it. I know that's kind of weird combination to be calling it dirty and clean at the same time, but it kind of does give you that vibe. So I think he's probably described it pretty well there. Okay, let's set that aside and get on with the shaving. Let's wet the razor here, and we'll see if this lubrication strip starts breaking down on us today. Again, I'm going to hold my ear down and keep it out of the way because there it is, the lubrication strip already. See that? You see that string coming off of that? That's just, I don't like that. I don't know if anything changed on that or not, but I don't remember my my Harry's blades in the past doing that. The older versions, not in the green. It's not a big deal. It's just annoying to sort of look at. It's not really creating any sort of problem whatsoever. But that lubrication strip is just not needed for someone who makes a traditional shaving lather. And honestly, I wish they had if they had a blade without that lubrication strip, I would get it. I will link these products below. I picked up this handle because I had a credit with Harry's, and so I said, well, you know, let's try the Winston handle. It's a nice handle as far as that goes. Feels good on the hand, nice looking. It's some sort of metal. I don't know what it is. In terms of material, I didn't do that much researching on it, but as you can see here, I'm not really having any problems with the soap, and I didn't expect to because my first run was quite good. I do still have a bump on the back of my neck there, so if you see any red, it'll be me opening up that bump, which happens at times. Not bad at all. I would say the soap feels good, smells good. no sort of irritation problems or fragrance issues of any kind, and that's what you want. Just a nice, easygoing shaving experience, or at least that's what I like. It's quite enjoyable when things go the way you like, or at least it is for me. And I hope it is for you too. That's the key. If you enjoy the shaves, you'll do it more. Or at least I like to. I like to do it fairly often, early and often. And it's a great deal of fun for me. And it's great fun to share these shaves with everyone. And I know when I last used the DentonMajik soaps, I was talking about, you know, losing the hair and not holding on to it. And there were some people who commented, you know, and gave their experience on how they might have tried to hold on or not, as the case may be. And that's something that, you know, we men, and of course women as well, struggle with. If you start losing your hair, it's tough for a lot of people, but I think once you embrace the bald, it gets a lot easier. Like, it kind of gives you something to, you know, now if you're a shaving enthusiast especially, it gives you more surface area to shave, and it is more difficult by virtue of all the curves and contours, and also that you don't have vision in a big part of the area you're shaving. And so that it does make it more difficult. And I can imagine you ladies who are watching, shaving your, you know, underarms, legs, other parts, it's probably even more difficult. I imagine behind that knee probably be a kind of a difficult place in some areas that are maybe hard to stretch and get to. And so much respect to the ladies, any who are watching this video. I really appreciate you. I know we don't have a ton of ladies, but I appreciate the ones we have. Thank you, ladies. And if you are a lady watching today, make a comment below and sound off, please, if you will. We'd like to know you're here and enjoying these videos, and just know that you are respected in the hobby, and we would like to see more of you. Now, I know sometimes this hobby, because it is so male dominated, it can be the good old boys club, and in some of the groups, you know, it gets kind of wacky and over the top with the language and the kind of, you know, boys club kind of stuff. But there are places that are welcoming to women, plenty of groups and places, and of course you're always welcome on my channel here to comment about the hobby or things like that. You're always welcome here, and if I see you being harassed in the comments of my channel, I promise you it will not last, because I will put a stop to it, because we do want to make it a place where everyone can share their thoughts, and I don't have to agree with your thoughts. I don't ban people for disagreeing for my thoughts. Rarely have I had to block anyone from the channel. The things that will get you blocked, and there are very, very few people blocked, are, you know, spreading falsehoods when you've been asked not to do it, making assertions that are patently false that can damage artisans or people's reputations, things like that are, you know, those are the lines for me. Racism, things like that. That's a no-go here on this channel. But otherwise, you know, if you don't agree, that's fine. You know, as long as we're debating the topic. If it gets personal, you know, sometimes that can be beyond what is necessary. That might be over the line. But I certainly don't expect everyone to agree with my opinions and philosophies on everything, because it would be pretty boring if everybody in the world was a CDB, wouldn't it? Look at that. That stupid, look at that. Look at that. You see that stuff floating around? That is very annoying with these blades. And when I'm doing that, there's just stuff floating around. You see that? That is 100% that goofy lubrication strip. That is not desirable at all, Harry's. And while it's not causing a problem, it just is not enjoyable to have that stuff floating around all over the place. And it's not needed for those of us who are making a traditional shaving lather. So please, Harry's, think of us when you're making these lubrication strips, because there are, believe it or not, lots of traditional shaving hobbyists who will still use carts for head shaves or every now and then face shaves. You know, we're about shaving in the traditional fashion with multiple passes, not trying to do it all in one, but that stickiness in that lubrication strip, which I did not notice on the old Harry's blades, I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty annoying. I'm not a fan of it. It's not creating a problem, but it just, you know, there's just stuff floating around every time I take the razor off my head. And for that reason, I'm just not digging it. And I found this to be the case with several of the modern carts. We've had it happen a lot recently. But this one, this particular shave, it has happened more than normal. And I dislike that because I really like Harry's blades. I think they're pretty affordable, at least here in the US. They do a good job. They're nice and sharp. Maybe consider, Harry's, you know, creating a razor without that lubrication strip. I know that's asking a lot to engineer, you know, one without it, because, you know, they make these in factories in huge numbers, but it's just not necessary for us. Or if you must have one, you know, when it's breaking down and doing what it's doing, it's just not very enjoyable to shave with. And I don't recall, you guys tell me if I'm wrong, guys and gals, I don't recall ever having this happen with my old Harry's blades, so I don't know what that's about. But it is definitely, now what will happen is over time, and this is only the second shave with this blade, over time it will probably stop doing that. But when it's new, it just continues to break down, and I'm just not a fan of that. But, you know, what are you going to do? We'll move on and persevere and hope as I get some uses on this blade that it will stop. Looks like it's calmed down for the moment. But just not necessary for those of us who make a traditional lather. That lubrication strip just gets in the way. It's unnecessary cost probably to put it on there. It's not needed. I think we would do better to teach people to lather and to teach them to shave rather than to put these crutches on these devices like the lubrication strip. If we taught people to lather or use their products more efficiently and effectively, we wouldn't need that lubrication strip. Or at least that's my feeling about it. I remember, I tell this story for those of you who are new. Some years back, I did a shave with the Harry's razor, and some very nice lady at Harry's reached out to me, and actually I made an order, and they had seen my videos at some point and knew I was a head shaver, and or maybe I had to indicate it in the order that, I don't know if I filled out a survey or something, but anyway, they reached out to me and offered to refund my order because Harry's razors were not designed for head shaving. And they wanted to make sure that I was aware that Harry's razors were not intended for head shaving or not designed for that purpose. And I said, oh, you know, I'm aware, you know, I'm a traditional shaver, an evangelist of traditional shaving. This is kind of my thing. I know this probably isn't designed for head shaving, but it's a razor that I enjoy using. And they sort of held the line on that. Like, they didn't say, oh, okay, well, you're experienced, fine. They just offered to refund. They were giving me the option not to buy their razor, which I thought was curious. It was a liability thing. They were probably worried about me cutting myself and, you know, blaming the razor. But we all know that if you cut yourself, it's your fault. It's not the razor's fault. And so it's one of those, that's the world we live in where, you know, they try to make everything foolproof so they can have no liability. But, you know, it's not the razor's fault if I cut myself. But I just thought it was odd that they wanted to cancel my order. I proceeded with the order, and they did fill it. So they did not sell me a razor, but they were trying not to. And I thought, That's weird. And I spoke about it on video too. And I was like, they reached out to me like, this isn't designed for head shaving. I'm like, well, I realize that there aren't that many things that are. There are a handful of razors that are, designed for that. But a lot of them are those wonky form factors that, aren't necessarily my favorite. Now the razor is not that lubrication strip. I've got it sufficiently beaten down to where it'll still come off if you coax it, but it's not too bad. So maybe we've got it sufficiently beaten down at this point where it won't do it. Anyway, overall, really nice head shave. I realized I didn't talk much about the soap. I'll do a little touching up here, but the soap hit all its marks today. Smelled great. Perfectly slick. No problems whatsoever. Any complaints we had today was just about that stupid lubrication strip on the Harry's, but otherwise, fantastic head shave. All right, let me rinse. We'll come back and into the post. Stay tuned. And all right, we are back with the Magic Made by Witches. This is Thayer's Witch Hazel Cucumber. We're going to give the dome a good spray and the face, because why not? Take a moment to apply the goodness throughout. Today's shave was really nice. The DentonMajik Foooj, which I'll put for you right there. Really nice. Really nice fougere scent. Bright, but it has a little bit of deep green in it. I really like the scent. I had no problem whatsoever lathering it. So again, Denton, great job on that soap. Again, it's vegan. I would prefer tallow, but it did a great job. I actually don't have anything to complain about. So there you go, Denton. On the razor, the Harry's blades, the new blades are perfectly fine in terms of sharpness, but that lubrication strip is just stupid. There's no reason whatsoever for that thing to be breaking down like that. I wish they made a blade without it, because it just kind of creates a nuisance. It doesn't really affect the shave adversely other than getting on your nerves. There's just, for someone who makes a traditional lather, that thing doesn't help anything at all. It just kind of gets in the way. So there it is with the Harry's. I'm going to finish things out today with Spike, the Active, which is a nice smelling scent. It won't hang around, but it's very nice. Haven't used it for a while and figured I would close things out with it today. Excuse me. I don't know when I'm going to air this. It'll probably be at some point in the future. Today, I don't even know what day it is. Maybe around the 12th of May. So it might be the 20th, or who knows when by the time I air it. But whenever I do, I hope it finds you well. Hope everything is going great in your life. Until next time, I've been your host, CDB, reminding you, it's your shave, do it your way. And as always, God bless.